Now our second expansion, we added 9 more clergy between 2008 and 2012. Presence in 10 states. And then in 2009 was when my election and consecration was made. I was named an auxiliary bishop under Larry. Try to learn a lot of things, because his vision was to retire at some point, not leave us completely. But, you know, the Lord works in mysterious ways. During that time, Archbishop Harms also had his 10th anniversary jubilee. Most of us who were part of the ACCUS were there. Monsignor Murphy was there, had some wonderful things to say to introduce the homily. And it was at our brethren's ELCA Lutheran Church in Frederick. The ELCA Lutherans are wonderful people. If in your own communities you need to find a place to worship, go there. They're usually very receptive to it. Yeah, it takes some money, but if you need a worship space larger than wherever you might be, they're very accommodating, because we share a lot of the same philosophies. They call women to orders. They minister to the LGBT community. They don't have the baggage that some of the other Lutheran churches have. They're very open and receptive. The only thing that makes them different is they don't have the apostolic succession. And then at that time too, during this time, we added the Franciscan OFM order, which you'll hear more from Michael. I keep saying Murphy, Michael. Tomorrow, right? It's tomorrow. You'll hear more about the OFM and how that all came to be. And then at that time, we finally solidified the St. John the 23rd Theological Institute. I'm not going to go into it now, but we started out, like you saw earlier in the earlier slide, through 4 or 5 different metamorphoses of this thing, which also caused a lot of problems. A lot of people, why they left, why they stayed, and why this and that. Because some of the people wanted to make this their retirement income, believe it or not. Oh, I'm going to teach, I'm going to make a fortune off this. No, that's not what Larry wanted. So, I mean, this has been very difficult to get under control over the years. But we have it, and it's now under Jamie's tutelage, and it's now time to rethink this. And then the end of the Archbishop Harms era in 2012. Before he died, he moved to his place of beauty and solitude, and I can't, you know, it was his place. Just like if I had the chance, I wouldn't be here, I'd be sitting in Hawaii doing this Skype or something. We each have our place. We each have our place to go. We each have our place where we can go and recharge. His was Sedona, and I can understand why. It's very beautiful there. It's just, it talked to him, just like Hawaii talks to me. So we end up getting to move to Sedona. Unfortunately, I didn't get to be there very long. About a year, I think it was. Yeah. He had a major health crisis. This isn't HIPAA related or anything like that. I can certainly talk about it. He had had some surgery when his blood sugar was too high. Stupid idea. Got an infection. Big one. Very bad infection. Which basically went to organ shutdown. It's about 2 weeks worth. Something like that.
That seems to go a little less.
Yeah, it went fast. Because it ended up having internal hemorrhaging. And he just bled. And they kept transfusing him, and it wasn't going to help. So it was horrible. But it's happened. But all because if anybody has diabetes, make sure they take your blood sugar and that they don't do any surgery on you when it's high, because that's what happens. Audrey, being a diabetes nurse all these years, she couldn't believe what they did. But it's neither here nor there. It was God's plan. I hate to say it that way, but it must have been, because otherwise it wouldn't have taken place. 2 days before his death, 4 p.m. Central Standard Time on a Wednesday, 26th of April, he resigns. But prior to that resignation, Archbishop Harms transferred to me his authority and office as presiding Archbishop. He did that in the presence of 4 witnesses in person, including, at that time, Vince, Father Vince. And I was on the phone, on speaker with 2 other people. So it was canonically and properly done. It wasn't just because it happened. It was properly reported and taken place. We learned our lesson about doing things by the book, believe me. And then at 4 a.m. Central Daylight Time on the 28th, Archbishop Emeritus Harms returns to the Lord. Now we come to the present. Now, any questions about the past at this point?
When did we get our 501c3?
Back in '99.
Right at the beginning.
That was one of the first things he did. Yeah. Along with incorporating in Maryland. And the incorporation is still there, because I get the tax forms every year and file them. I don't want to transfer that mess, because Wisconsin, I don't pay for anything in Maryland. Wisconsin's going to cost me big money bucks, so I'm not going to do that. So the present era, from April 26th to now, so far it's been 5 years, 6 months, and 1 day. This is today.
Archbishop, can I add one little footnote?
Mm-hmm.
Before Archbishop Harms passed, after my ordination, he contacted me about getting accreditation for the St. John, John the 23rd Academy, because they were having some difficulties with it in Maryland. There were a lot of breakfasts and so on. And I found out that in Arizona, the process is a lot simpler.
And it did take place.
It did take
Yes,
place.
yeah, under Chris, got that all. Chris and Art took care of that, so that was all taken care of back. Don't have the exact date, but it was a number of years before. Right around that time you had the phone call. So we had our period of mourning in 2012 for 9 days, from the 28th and ending on the 6th of May. He had his solemn funeral rites, which was very pontifical. You know who were there, you know what I'm talking about. And we had planned this ahead of time. Long before he even left Maryland, I came one day and was named as Carmelengo, and we laid this whole thing out. Didn't quite go 100% as planned, because of course at the time we were still in Maryland and they had to move him from Arizona to Maryland, and he almost missed his own funeral. But that's another day for that story, or after here, if you want to hear it. This is the first time that you at Holy Family had an opportunity to know what was going on, because Reverend Jamie I didn't know this at the time, but Reverend Jamie had been in contact with Archbishop Harms about coming on board. And once Father Jamie found out what was going on, got in touch with me and said, could I come out, and gave me a schedule. And he made it out for the committal rites. Couldn't come out for the funeral because it was over the weekend. And of course at that time, you guys weren't ordained, so he needed to do his mass and that. But he came out right after that and participated at the committal rites. And then that same day of the committal, that's when I was installed as the presiding archbishop, because everyone was in town. It made no sense. Everyone was there. So it was, a sad opportunity, but hey, everyone's here. We had to get used to the church. Just put the pallium on, be done, and move on. Didn't need to make a big fuss over it.